I'm doing the second quilt that I purchased, and it's beautiful. Fabric is really good, just like the first one was. I'm really impressed with that. The one thing I just kind of wanted to mention, I'm putting my border on this one. Has a, I believe this is a 6-inch border. But one thing I do want to mention and let everyone know, and it's not a horrible, it's not a deal buster by any means, but you probably want to be aware is that this, before the border goes on, this was supposed to have measured 48.5 inches on one side, and then it said it should measure 52.5 on the other. I'm not getting anywhere near that. I don't know why it's coming up short, and that's kind of weird. But like I said, it's not a deal buster because you guys, the fabric is so good. These quilts are going to last a long time, probably a lifetime for at least one person. So, but I just wanted to mention that. And the colors are just beautiful. They're even probably better than I thought they were going to be. Here's the border fabric on this one that I'm putting on right now. I believe that's 6 inches. I haven't measured it, but I think it's supposed to be a 6-inch border. Here's my tape measure, and I'll let you guys know. This border on this one is, no, I'm sorry, it's 6.5. So it's going to finish at 6 inches. And this quilt, I probably should give you guys the name of the quilt that I'm doing here. This one is a lot of blues and beiges and that kind of burnt orangey pink. I don't know if it's burnt orange, burnt pink, but it's got burnt orange and some pinks in it. But it's going to match my living room great. And this one is supposed to finish at 64 inches. Some of their quilts, I noticed you could purchase a bigger size, of course, more money. And then some of them didn't offer that. I believe this one did not offer a bigger size, that 64 by 64 was the only size that came in. Oh, I was going to get you guys the name of this, if they have the name of this particular quilt on here. I don't know if they do or not. This one, oh, I think it's called the Thistle Quilt. Does that look? I think that's what they're calling this one, if you're interested in this one. So, and I don't know if I still have I've already put my instructions up for the other one, but I just wanted to kind of do that follow-up and let you guys know. Okay guys, so I have the border on here and I was thinking, I had this sitting on my desk on my sewing machine like this, and I'm thinking this is binding. I had forgotten that this was also in there, and I messed up. This border was supposed to go on first, and then this is my binding. Because what I had thought about doing was to make it a little bit bigger is just go ahead and use my binding to put another border on it, and then I would just make my own binding with whatever I decide to use for a back panel on this. So I messed up. So now I have do I want to rip it all out and put this on there? Or maybe I'll just put this on. I don't think it'll look right though. So I may be ripping all this out. That was my bad. I cannot believe I did that. But I had these sitting exactly like this, and I didn't realize and I didn't look at the instructions that great. I just kind of, I know how to do borders, so I just kind of went with it. So, or I could put this on the outside and then use this for my binding, just so I don't have to rip it out. I don't know. So, we're quilters, and if you make a mistake, you know that you can either get the ripper out and start ripping, or you can come up with a new plan. The problem is, if I rip this out at this point and I try to put this on, I'm going to have to sew some more, and then I'm going to have more seams on this border, and I really don't want to do that either. So I think I'm going to leave it like it is, and I think I might put this as one more border on here because it does match this other, and I might put that on there. and then I'll use this for my binding. So I messed myself up. I'm really upset with myself, but you know, it happens. I'm going to, I'm probably not going to be, we're getting ready to leave town, so I don't think I'm going to do any more. I'm so upset right now with myself that I kind of need to walk away from it. If you know, you probably know what I'm talking about if you've ever done something like this yourself. But I really love the quilt. I wanted to try, I'll just put it out there. I wanted to try a kit that had the pre-cut pieces because I'm getting very arthritic. My hands have a lot of arthritis in them, and I'm having a hard time cutting my pieces as fast as I used to, and I'm not cutting them as straight as I used to. And I'm thinking, okay, if it wasn't for the cutting a quilt, I'd be quilting a whole lot more. And I love to quilt. That's like my favorite thing to do. So I wanted to try a kit because I'm thinking about buying a cutter. I don't want to throw any brand names out there because I'm absolutely not sponsored by anybody. But I'm thinking about buying a cutter that will cut, that I can buy different dies and cut my fabric that way. And I wanted to try it though and just see if it really made my life that much easier. And I have to say, absolutely it does. And I'm not buying the cutter because I don't like this quilt or that I don't, it's just they're expensive buying them like this. I have a ton of scrap fabric I would like to be able to use in beautiful colors. And the quilt kits, their only downfall to me is that you're limited to a design and a color that someone else has already picked out. So now, I don't know how many more people own this quilt. Mine's going to be different, obviously, but I don't know how many more people will own this quilt, but it's not an original quilt. I mean, let's just face it, it's not going to be an original quilt. So, if you're here because you wanted just to see what it was like, you guys, these pre-cut pieces makes quilting so easy. So I 100% recommend that. If you're thinking about buying a cutter to cut your pieces, I can't say 100% sure yet, but I can just tell you that if I could sit down at a cutter for an hour a day or whatever and cut pieces, and all I have to do is sit down at my sewing machine because I've got all my pieces cut and they're cut straight. I mean, the pieces are so precise. So that's what I'm hoping with getting a quilter is I'll be able to use up some of my scrap fabric. I keep looking behind me because my fabric is on the shelf behind you guys. That's just going to make my life easier, but I can still make original quilts that way. If you're a beginner and you don't go and invest a bunch of money. Buy your sewing machine. I started off with a old wood loom type of quilter, and I hand quilted. All of my first 5, 6 quilts were hand quilted. Those have been put away because they are hand quilted, but all my machine quilted ones, I do have a long arm now, and that's because quilting these things really slowed me down. I couldn't make but 1 or 2 a year, so I love my long arm. But you know what? I bought a long arm for $2,500 with the, here, I'll show you guys my long arm. I've got Christmas going on in here right now too, but I have an old 1997 Noltings and this old metal framed kind of long arm going on. And hopefully you guys can still see me because I won't be able to tell. But best machine ever. That is the workingest little dude I ever saw. It's not computerized. It's $2,500 for the whole setup. It's not computerized. I chose that. I didn't want a computer one. I want to feel like that I'm still hand doing it. And so by doing it myself, I'm not doing it this way, but I am still pretty much kind of hand quilting it, and they're so not perfect. I don't quilt for anyone for money. I only quilt for myself and make these for family and friends. That's it. So it doesn't matter if they're not perfect for me. But so don't go and invest in expensive cutter because they're not cheap. I've been pricing them. They're not cheap at all. Don't go do that. And like I said, I think these were 150, no, I don't remember how much they were. Maybe they were $100. Anyway, I got 2 of them for $150 because they had a discount code, and I think they run that pretty much all the time. So if you want to try out, if you're having issues cutting straight enough, and yeah, I've got a ton of rulers. I use the The roller cutter, always use a roller cutter. It's just easier. But you can't cut several layers at a time. At least I can't anymore. My hands won't let me. So you guys, if you're a beginner, this is definitely a good way to go. And really $75 for a quilt because you're getting all the fabric. You're not getting your batting. You're not getting your backing. But you are getting your binding and what's supposed to be binding. You are getting your binding and everything you need to make the front of the quilt. So that's my final review. That's the reason I wanted to try this. I wanted to see how good the fabric was. And okay, I know I've said it a jillion times, but I'm loving this fabric. And some of these, I found writing on one of them. It looks like they're all Garden Romance by Tripp, Karen someone. I'm so sorry, I can't remember who it was. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Okay, it looks like it's by Karen Tripp. So it's Garden Romance by Karen Tripp, and is the person that made this fabric, and it's beautiful. It is just beautiful. So there you go. I appreciate you all watching. If you like what you see, and it looks like a lot of people, I've got a lot of reviews or a lot of people watching the quilting videos. So, you know, I think I'll be putting more of them out there. So if you like what you see today, just go ahead and like and subscribe. The next video may not be pertain to quilting or something you want, but you'll see the title and I'll make sure I put the words quilting on there so you'll know it's one you do want to watch. Okay, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on RNS Life After 55.